Hello, hello, hello. It is your boys, the DM podcast, once again giving you the flavor in your ear. We're going to just do predictions. This whole week is predictions. This episode, our next one is just all about predictions of who we believe the standings will be, the top 15 teams on each conference, of course. Then we're going to give you our NBA Finals prediction, even our NBA Cup predictions as well. This episode, we are going to focus just on the awards. It's award season. We have to predict. We got to go who's going to be the sixth man of the year. Is Wemby winning MVP? Since everyone wants to crown him, is he winning MVP this year? We're going to wait and see. But make sure you guys comment, like, and subscribe. And don't forget to do all that, hit the notification, do all that. Okay, guys, make sure you guys are here. Before I continue, my boy YS, how's everything going?
You already know, every day above ground.
Every day above ground. For our Canadian listeners, happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. For us, the people down under, your Thanksgiving is next month. But for us, it's right now. Shouts out to all the people celebrating Thanksgiving. Shouts out to you. Now we're gonna do our predictions. Before we do our predictions, I thought of something to do with you, if you do mind, sir. I call this "Who would you build around?" But I depended on year. So it's this year. That's it. That's all you have. You have 3 years to build on someone else. I did two of those, and I did a 5 year. Who would you build your team around? I do this to my boy because he doesn't know what it's coming. So I like to surprise him with that. I like to surprise him with these little randoms. So build your team around, okay? You have 1 year. You could be GM, coach, whoever you want to choose to be, okay? You build your team around one of these guys to win a title this year. KD, LeBron, and Steph. Who are you
All,
picking and why?
all the grandfathers,
All
huh?
that's why I went 1 year for them. That's why I went 1 year for them.
Oh, shoot. KD for the next 3 years.
No, just 1 year. Just 1 year. So this is just 1 year. You only have this season.
To be honest, damn. I would go Curry.
So this 1 year Curry, that's the person you're building
I'm going Curry.
around. Why you pick Curry?
Curry because LeBron's a good leader, but I feel like it's more of an intimidation factor. I'm the face of the league factor, sort of leader. So I feel like Curry is is a different leader in a sense, right? He's not as a what's the word I'm saying for he's not using his quote unquote power
Yeah, I
he
see that.
has on his face of the league
I see.
entitlement to be a leader. He's leading on the court, his playmaking, his dribbling, his passing, his shooting ability, right? KD is not even a leader, so that's not even a question.
I think KD's more like a lead by example type of guy.
To me, KD's just an amazing player, but
He really
I don't
is.
get like him being a leader. There's a difference between being a leader and amazing player. Like to be both is amazing, right? That's first ballot Hall of Famers, right? That's elite Hall of Famers.
Right.
KD, he's an amazing player, but he's not the best leader to me.
Yeah, the thing is, I think with Steph, he's easier to build around. If you're going 1 year, he's probably easier to build around. Like LeBron is still LeBron centric. Like LeBron has to have the ball. Like, does LeBron really need a point guard? He needs more of a dynamic guard, like beside him.
Mhm.
Where Steph, you can put a lot of guys. You can put a big man around Steph. You can do a lot. Like LeBron works well with Anthony Davis, but Anthony Davis also can shoot the three. Not a great clip, but he can stretch the floor. And LeBron kind of needs someone who can stretch the floor. With Steph, you can put a lot of different guys around him, so it makes him easier to build around for that 1 year championship or bust. So I can see that with a Steph, LeBron, and KD. Now this is 3 years. Okay, you have 3 years to win a title. Okay, who you rather build around? This is a little harder, I think. Shea or Luca?
Three spell talent round. Can
You have
Luca
three
get better?
years. You have three
Can
years to win
Luca
the title.
can Luca get better? Is the question. Can he get better as a
Both
player?
both of them can get better. Both of them, yeah, you have ability. Progression does work here. Progression does work. So you have Shea and Luca.
You
Who
know
is
what?
it?
You know what? I'm going with Shea.
Why you say?
Shea's not as ball dominant as Luca, first and foremost. And I'm trying to think back to the last, like, let's say 10 champions, was there really ball dominant player, like a ball dominant player?
No, I think a lot of people say like you can't win a title that way. Like Kobe always said that about Harden. I was literally thinking about, I was listening to a podcast and they're talking about James Harden. He talked about like, oh, you guys talk about my game, but Luka did the same thing. But in order for Luka and the Dallas Mavericks to win, I think first of all, Kyrie needs to have the ball more, and Luka needs to play like away from the ball better. Like he does it, but better. Not like sit on the side and go like move. You guys move here while he's just waiting to get the ball back. Like he can't do that. But yeah, Shea, I can see being once again. It's about who you can put around these guys. You have
Mhm.
to focus so much on Shea. Luca's like LeBron in that sense.
Yeah, like Luka's amazing. Luka is a better player than Shea. You know what I mean? Definitely, but in a team sense and a chemistry sense, and we can build around. I feel Shea is better for that, right? Because he can get far playing the style they play.
Right.
Luka, Dallas Mavericks, Kyrie, all of them, right? But you're not going to get to the point. You're not going to win that.
Unless Luca's gonna give 60 per game and just hog the ball, and like you really don't have good defenders to touch him. Like that's what must happen.
No, Luka needs to. Yeah, he can't be ball because Luka has the ball 20 seconds in his hand.
Yeah.
And then
That's
if Kyrie has the ball, we know Kyrie doesn't like to kill his defender on a 1-2 dribble like Tim Hardaway, 90s Tim Hardaway, right? He likes to, and we like to see that. But when you're looking at it as you see what I'm saying, a player perspective, you're on the court analytics perspective, you're taking a lot of dribbles. You're
right.
taking some off the shot clock.
Right.
Right? Guys are in motion, and you could be missing them. You couldn't be missing them because you're dribbling too much.
Right.
Right? It's nice, but
It's just easier with Shea. You have to win a title. It's easier with Shea. You can put a bunch of people around them and they'll probably just be better. You know, it's like Shea, I think, would make Anthony Davis score 30 points. I think Luka would be like, hey, get 20 rebounds for me. Right. So
yeah,
I think that's the difference. Another 3 years. I'll give you another 3 years you have. These ones guys are a little bit younger. I think, yeah, probably a little younger. Paolo Banchero or our man Scotty Barnes. You have 3 years to build a team. Who would you rather?
I'm building on. Is that even a fucking question? I'm, I love you, Scotty, but it ain't Scotty. It ain't Scotty. From what I'm seeing right now, we're
Yeah,
talking about right now. Can Scotty be a better player than Paulo in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years? Yes,
right.
he could be. But we're talking about right now. I'm going Paulo.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, if you have 3 years, I think sometimes I feel like Paulo is more polished in a sense. Like
He is. He
he's
is.
still gonna develop. All these guys are gonna progress, but when you look at it, I think both guys, the best versions of them are like a second or third guy on a title team. I don't really see them being a number one guy because I truly think a number one guy is a guy who's like can get buckets for you, like who can really get buckets for you at the end of
Well,
the end of the day, right? Like I see more of them like that two or third guy on a squad. But I wanted to pick. I would sometimes think of Scotty just because of all the things he does. He can pass the ball well. He can rebound. He can score the ball efficiently. So I'm thinking like that's good. But I could see like Paolo could have the offensive skill set that's better,
yeah.
right? So I can see why we you would pick Apollo over a Scotty. And I always think to myself, who who would be their second guy or their third guy, like their
Well,
center?
here's the thing about being the number one guy, right? You agree Giannis is the number one guy?
Yeah, he's the most dominant guy. Yeah,
Did you think he was going to be a number one guy when he got drafted,
not even close.
right? But these two are closer to being a number one guy,
Yeah,
right? So remember, keep that in mind. The development, like you said, right?
yeah. Development's key, and then also being a number one guy, like Nino have said before, how much real number one guys you have? You not all the guys are number one, like true number ones
I
is a
know
guy
you
who
probably
can take the ball and
yeah.
like Giannis, I never thought was a true number one, but he also in a game six had like 50 points and won the NBA championship. He like made himself a number one guy. He said, "Give me the ball and don't worry about nothing else. I got you." right? It's harder for especially nowadays for a big man to do it, but unless you're the talented as like Shaq,
Yeah.
Embiid, Jokic, then like
Anything like Embiid's talented, but we gotta stop leaving his name out. He didn't go anywhere yet. He hasn't been anywhere yet. He hasn't been out the second round.
you're right, man. Because I think like we just all see the talent. We all see the talent, and we're like, bro, you can be dominant in the post, and you can hit a jumper, like, and you can shoot a three pretty efficiently, or well enough that people have to like guard you.
So yeah, but
Yeah, here's all the talent. Okay, last one. You have 5 years for these people. Okay, you have 5 years. You have 5 years to win a title. Cade Cunningham or Chet Holmgren.
man,
See, I didn't want to pick Wemby. I think Wemby would be like we're all gonna just pick Wemby overall.
but I'm gonna go with my boy Cade, and I love Chet. I love Chet. Not
That's
like
why I'm like I knew Chet was gonna be hard for you because like I know you're a Chet fan,
you know what I mean, but I feel like Cade because of Cade has a lot better playmaking ability, obviously at the guard spot, right?
right?
To have a 6'8" guard that can actually pass very well and shoot decent,
Yeah,
right at 6'8" and handle the ball, that's kind of, let's say, close to would you say generational sort of thing?
yeah. I think Cade has a more generational talent. Yeah,
You know what I mean? So I would kind of say I'm not knocking Chet. Chet's 7 foot. He can handle a rock. He can shoot. He's coming off pick and rolls. So like
he's a
that's
great
already a
defender.
unicorn. Yeah, that's a unicorn in itself. But
Yeah.
it's I'm going with Cade. I'm going with Cade. Like you have that type of ball handle at that height is it's different. It's a different dynamic.
And I think like this is where even kind of going back to like a KD and like Steph or KD and even LeBron. LeBron is the type of player who makes everyone better. Cade can make everyone better.
Yes,
Chet is his own being.
he's good.
He's not
He's
gonna
good.
make anyone better,
Yeah.
right? Unless he handles the ball and plays point more. Like then you'll make people better. But you really aren't making much better. But that's a hard one. Even I
He's changing the game on the defensive end.
right. That's
There's
true.
certain ways. There's certain ways, I guess, but I get what you mean overall. Yeah, it's yeah.
That one's hard, but I have become more of a Cade fan because once again, there's guys in this league that I just want them to be better in a better situation. I want these guys to be in the bright lights. Like they're talented enough to be here. So I want to see what they can do. I think Cade is one of those guys that I want to like. That's why I pray for Detroit to be good this year. Like I want them to be good. But that was my build around. That was a random build around. A bunch of guys I wanted to see what your thought process was. To the next topic, I want to actually quickly do just a Raptor event that I want to do. I did a Raptor video a couple days ago. I saw some comments on my video talking about, Scotty and Pascal, or like, 'cause I said in the video that I wish Pascal stayed. I do. I do think a Pascal, RJ Barrett, Scotty, and Quickly team will be pretty good with a Jakob Poeltl at the five. I think that's like a top six team in the East if
Yeah.
everyone knows their roles. You're still saying, Scotty, do your thing. Pascal, bail us out when we're stagnant. RJ's been really good 3-point shooter since he's been on the Raptors. I think a 40% shooter since he's been on the Raptors. And quickly just, manage the game, right? And
They can
Pirtle
all
just
kind
be
of
defensive.
rotate too, especially the to two, three, and four. They can all just kind of
Right,
rotate
exactly.
from the one to
So
five. So
And then I think like you could have made right. You couldn't have drafted some of the players because you wouldn't have had them. You would have lost your draft pick. That's all fine to me. But I just think this year would be better. Your bench will still be kind of shaky because you wouldn't have Kelly Olynyk, you wouldn't have OJ Abaji, you wouldn't have those guys. But I think you could have got like some guys like in the margin during free agency. You could have paid a guy 2 million if you wanted to.
Redmond,
Um,
yeah.
Gary Trent really got signed for 2 million. So you can't tell me that he wanted to stay for the Raptors anyway. So you could have brought him back if you wanted to.
Heard
And
that.
you
You
you,
should
uh
have.
and you traded I forgot his name, McDaniels to Sacramento, who gave you way too much for McDaniels. They gave you a Sasha who doesn't want to play in the league anymore, so he's gone. And then you gave you Davion Mitchell and a second round pick. So like you would have got a second round pick off that, and you still would have got Davion Mitchell to be your backup. And honestly, like
So that's not bad.
that's not bad if you had Davion Mitchell as your backup because you already have all the scoring.
Yeah.
You're starting four. Those four guys are Pascal can give you 20, RJ give you 20 quickly, and Scotty Ball. So you don't need to think about scoring. But you would want a better bench. But as long as you had two out of those guys on the, you're okay, in my opinion. That's what I was saying. But when you talk about Pascal, this is what my whole point was. And you say you like Pascal, some reason these Raptor fans are like, well, I guess you hate Scotty. Oh, you hate Scotty. You don't want to build around Scotty. No one's
No.
saying that. No one's saying you can like both players. I didn't like the way Masai handled the situation because he just didn't talk to Pascal. It's like you're breaking up
Oh,
with somebody you just don't
yeah.
want to talk. Like the way he handled it was bad. But ultimately, like I'm okay with this new way of Toronto. But I also would have liked if we tried that with the Pascal, right? Like, are we a championship team? No, but teams get injured. The Pacers literally made it to the conference finals.
The Pacers are a good team, though. Like when
They're
all
they're
look at the Pacers, they're a good young team,
they're a good team,
and
right?
they just see an opportunity and play with confidence, right? But Pascal back on the Raptors or Pascal on the Raptors, I didn't want him to go. Any player that plays for the Raptors that does not want to leave, A, I
Okay,
value loyalty, right?
me too.
And B, he was getting better. He won a ring with us. You know what I mean? He worked hard. He would have accepted a lesser role,
That's
right?
my thing. He would have accepted us a role.
It's things like that. Like you're loyal, you would have accepted a lesser role. So it's like I would have worked something out with him, right? But
Like you're
uh,
telling me Paul George, and you can say Paul George is better than Pascal, but you're saying Paul George was the second guy on the Clippers. Arguably, is he not the third guy on the Sixers? Are they not going to give Maxi and Embiid more touches, or aren't they not? Maxi's a young guy. They love Maxi. They're not.
I
They'll
love Max, but Max is the playing the one, right?
right,
So
but
he's
like,
gonna have the ball in his hands
all
from
the
jump,
time, right,
right? But he knows that there's a pecking order at the
right,
same time, right?
right,
So, but I feel like Paul George is at the stage in his career where it's like, okay, like if it's you, it's you. If it's me, it's me, right? But
right,
Embiid is gonna be
right.
the number one. But if it, that's how I feel.
And I'm thinking to myself like Pascal would have done the same thing.
Yeah, yeah,
He would have easily been like, "Yo, go." He just wanted to win. Like, go
yes,
if
and stay in
Scotty's
Toronto, and stay in Toronto. That was it.
yeah,
No, no, and
if
stay
the
in
man's
Toronto.
gonna go off, let him go off. Quickly
Yeah,
and RJ can do their thing. I'll be like, Pascal started off his career as like, first of all, no one thought he would be this way. Like
hell no,
nobody.
hell no.
Right. And he became a two-time All-NBA, a two-time All-Star. Like now he's with freaking Halliburton, who's the same age as Scotty. What are we talking about here? I don't know. I just feel like, and that team is really young with Nemhard, Matherin, all those
Uh,
guys. They're all young. So I just feel
Mike,
like, but
aren't they
once again,
developing still? Aren't they still developing with
yeah,
Pascal on the squad?
yeah. That's
Okay,
my whole point. We could have done both. But I think people when you talk about one, people are like, "Oh, Scotty's this," but then someone also put in a comment that Scotty's the third option on the team, which I thought was whatever. I think Scotty will probably score, not score as much. Um, they had a really embarrassing preseason loss yesterday, to the Boston Celtics,
it's
which
pretty.
like it's
I
preseason,
mean,
so I really don't
preseason.
care. Like
Yeah,
even though the Boston Celtics like the starters didn't play, it was the bench. But me and you both know. Here's the thing: when you win a title, everyone's confidence is so much higher, like so much higher. So you think you're facing the Boston bench? This Boston bench is like, we won a title before.
yeah, yeah,
We're cocky as fuck right now.
yeah, yeah.
Like you can't tell Payne Pritchard shit right now,
I was about to say that boy Pritchard. He looks like he's in the military. That's
bro.
how he's looking with that buzz cut. So chill. And that's the guy on their bench. And he'll
Right.
give you he'll people underestimate how good Pritchard is.
Yeah, he's a good player. He really is.
Like
He's
it's
hard nosed. He's tough. He can give you 15 if he wants to.
yes, and
Like
he
he
can
can
shoot
shoot.
the ball, he can
Yeah, he
handle
can
the
shoot the ball
ball.
very
It's
well. Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm
he
saying.
has good footwork. It's
And they won
crazy.
the title. They won the title. You think Hauser is like I can shoot the three very well. I'm chilling. You guys can
Like, well, I was
underestimate
just
us.
like, if you give me a little daylight, I'm
Oh,
hitting this shot.
done. Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. People like they get confused. Cornette, like they have Xavier Tillman. All these guys won the title.
Yeah,
Like that Raptor after the title year was a 60, like on pace for 60 wins.
yeah. I remember that season. That was a good season
That was
with
an,
that.
oh, that was my favorite season. That was my favorite season with the Raptors.
There
Like
was a lot of ball movement too. It was like, yeah, yeah,
Norm stepped up,
yeah,
Fred stepped up, Pascal stepped. Come on, man. That's and Kyle's just there, like, look at these young guys. Okay,
yeah.
let me pass the like. It was a team.
I'm cheesing right now because I
It,
understand. You got me cheesing.
yeah, man, that's why I like winning. I this whole concept of like whatever I hate it. I want to quickly before we get to the awards to our main event, the WNBA Finals. I just want to say once again, WNBA Finals is it's French. It's a beautiful kiss to basketball. Defense is there. Like it's fun and exhilarating. The Minnesota Lynx were down like 18 points with 5 minutes to go, and like Courtney Williams like was just killing it with the three. She has like a vibe. If you're not watching like a Russell Westbrook when he's like on a wave, like when Westbrook is on a wave and he's hitting it when he's hitting the shots. Come on, man.
Oh,
He's
they'll be
crazy.
celebrating. Yeah, yeah,
Yo, he be looking at the crowd like you can't stop me. You can't. So I rate that with her with and Nafisa Color her fadeaway shot kind of reminds me of Dirk a little bit. I'm not trying to be blasphemous, but the way her fadeaway shot, then she puts the leg up. Oh no, it's beautiful, beautiful.
that's Dirk. That's Dirk. That's Dirk.
That team plays defense and they hit threes at like a 40% rate on in the regular season.
What?
Nafisa Color is the defensive
40%?
player of the year. That team defensively is good. Shouts out to Bridget Carlton, the Canadian. Like
That's
I
three is like you got to guard up, and you have
yeah.
defense like that. You got to guard up.
But now the Liberty it's a super team,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Yeah.
Jocko Jones, people she was she not the MVP? Like, yeah, she was the MVP like 3, 4 years ago, but she has taken such a lesser role on this team. She's like the third, fourth option some games. And then you still have Brianna Stewart, who's like the second best player in the league right now. Then you still have Sabrina Ionescu, who's had a fabulous
Well,
year.
Gramster doesn't get talked about enough because of the two rooks right now, but she was
Yeah.
talked about more previously, right?
Yeah, last year she was talked about a little bit more because her and
Yeah.
Aja were like battling for that like MVP, but Brianna won. Um, see this year Aja wins like unanimously, so now Brianna may win the title this year because that team
Asia's
is technically
Asia's
better.
amazing.
The
Asia's amazing.
Asia Wilson's amazing. And mind you, her and Brianna were fighting for that number one spot, best player in the world. But Asia just kind of took it over. She just took it over. This year, she's playing like a beast obsessed, right? But overall, the WNBA finals has been so good. Like I love WNBA finals. Like the intensity, the
Mhm.
how much fun it is. I feel like the NBA finals just don't have this fun.
Yeah,
Like just don't have it.
yeah,
They don't have close games like this, man. I need NBA finals to be close games. I always say I don't care about no 120 score.
yeah.
Man, I'm okay with seeing that 80 to
You
97
know the
score.
finals of the NBA, there was a couple blowout games, and it's just like, and even in the East Finals, West Finals with some blow, and it's like,
The
you
the
know,
best the best games were the East Finals ones. Indiana and Boston. Those were at least close games. That
those
game one was
yes, yes.
close. Like I think Boston didn't blow them out the second one, I think. And then like it was close games or like Indiana fought every single time. Freaking Joe Mazzulla's like the hardest team we faced in the whole playoffs was the Pacers. And they swept the Pacers. They swept every
Every
team beat them by
quarter,
one.
yeah.
Even when Dallas won, they won by like 20, 30. It's not fun, but these WNBA
Yeah.
finals, man,
Are you
it's
looking forward to the NBA or the WNBA? Like when you're talking about excitement,
NBA. But like when it comes to playoffs or like yeah, playoffs, the NBA playoffs right now, and it's been like this for a while. I would honestly say it's just more fun. It's just more fun. Once it's a competitive level, I do think the NBA's playoffs are gonna get better, like because all these teams are so bunched up. Like there's no super team anymore, so
which
there
is
should be
nice.
no like there should be closer games. The East is a little different when it's like a little top heavy. Like Boston's a little top heavy in
Who's the
comparison.
closest to a super team to you then in the
Hey,
league? Closest, you would say.
Um, the question like, what's a super team nowadays? Like, would you say super team three guys, four guys? What would you say?
I would say three. It's three guys that are, superstar, let's say.
No, then we don't have it. Then we don't
Because
have it.
Miami was a super team with LeBron and them, right? That was a super
Yeah,
team.
no,
Okay,
yeah.
so something
I
like
think
that.
because I think like when you think of like Denver starting unit was so good. And you think about it, was such a good starting unit,
It
right?
was.
With KCP, Michael Porter Jr., like everyone had their role. Like that's a really good. Um, Boston, of course, like Boston is super talented. You know, if you want to like have a argument, a potential super team is the Philadelphia 76ers. because the
Potentially.
three guys are just names, right? Three all stars you have, and then you would also say, I'll ask you, would you say Milwaukee is with a healthy Chris Middleton? That has to be a super team,
Yes, I would say Milwaukee. I would say Phoenix.
right? It was,
Close to a
I was
super
gonna say
team.
Phoenix because of Bradley Beal. It was hard, but you're right in the concept. Bradley Beal's the guy that we think he was like at least 3 years ago. How's it not? But he hasn't been. He's been injured a lot. So yeah, I think the super team concept is gone, but now it's the duo now. It's the duos. It's duos
Bring back to
and
the 90s. I love the duos. Every team had a duo in the 90s. Love.
right. And I think that's what we need, right? We'll have the young guys coming, but I always say OKC to reach that mountaintop, they're gonna have to look at those three guys and be like, man, we can't pay everybody. OKC's not it's not LA or Boston or New York or Chicago that's willing to go into the luxury tax and pay the
Yeah.
tax bill,
Yeah.
right? So they're gonna have to look at each other and say something. Okay, let's get to this main event, the awards. This NBA season, I honestly would say is the easiest award for me was MVP for some reason. Like that was the easiest one for me to think of a winner. I think
Me
it's
too.
almost predictable. Everything else, I just have a bunch of names. I may pick someone, but I almost just have a bunch of names. What about you? What was your thought process?
Well, the easiest one for me was the most improved.
Really? I feel like that was my hardest one.
No, I to me it just kind of stood out to me like, okay, yeah, this guy's gonna get it. He should get it.
Um, okay, let's go to our first one. Let's do most improved. Let's do that.
Most let's start with the young. We'll start with rookie of the year.
Rookie? Okay, let's go rookie. So rookie for me, there's a bunch of guys you can think about. There's Zach Edey in Memphis because he's gonna start.
No, that
Um,
was my honorable mention.
Shepard, from Houston, but it all depends on a lot of these guys depends on minutes. If you
Yes.
say Alex Zander Sarr from Washington, there's Zachary Richese who I didn't include,
Okay.
but I saw his last like preseason game with Atlanta. Looks like they're gonna give him some time.
Okay.
If they do, he could do some stuff because I understand why the people like his game. He may not be a superstar, but he will be a guy on a championship team that's like your third, fourth guy. Like he will be that guy. Like and he's gonna perform well on a stage, I believe. But if I had to pick one, I'm picking the Houston Rockets one. I think he just stood out to me when I've seen him play. They say he's like a young, I would say the people say he reminds of like a Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. I like that. I like that. I think he's once again reach Shepard. I think he can be something. I he's competing with Jalen Green right now. That's the problem. Jalen Green's touch is getting those minutes, but once everyone can kind of see the Jalen Green stuff, I think he'll win it. What say you?
Well, I got like what you mentioned, Alexander Scar, right? And I got Rob Dillingham, right?
You know, I I think you could be right because he could also win potentially six man of the year because he's their sixth man,
Yeah, he
right?
can pass.
He can pass, but like to me, they're like, oh, like Mike Conley's gonna retire soon. So Dillingham is technically your point guard of the future. He really is. That's how they're setting him up. But he doesn't look like, or doesn't remind me of a point guard. But now I think about it, who's really a point guard in this league?
Exactly. Exactly.
No one's a point guard, so it makes sense. But I like that Dillingham pick. That's your choice. That's a good pick. That's a good pick because he may get some buckets.
He
He may get
will.
some
He
buckets.
will.
Yeah,
He
some
will.
people don't see it, but like
Nah.
you have Nikhil, you have Nas Reed. This Memphis team can score the basket. I'm not mentally taking in how much they can still. Yeah, they don't have Constantine Towns, but that just means Nas Reed's gonna score more. It
Yep.
means Dillingham's gonna score more.
Yep.
That's not
Yep.
bad. That's not bad. Any other honorable mentions for rookie, or that was just more Zach
Zach
Edey?
Edey, like you mentioned, Zach Edey. Because that lob combo, I'm like, it's kind of scary. Him bringing that size back,
Hmm.
like that pink presence that I hope he can bring that back. I hope Memphis can play a style of ball like their style of ball instead of trying to adapt to the modern NBA. Everyone shooting
Right.
threes. Like if they can really have Ja the point dissecting, picking everyone apart, and Zach in the paint just shoulder bang on you type or
Right.
lob bang on you, and they can do that. I love to see that type of style of ball. Love to see that.
I think the people have said that Zach Edey, when he was playing in Purdue, they were limiting him. They weren't letting him express his like he could do more. They just but we know that college ball does limit you. It does. That's why the Kentucky guards are so much better but they're being limited, right? I think Booker was a six man on.
Yes, I was about to say Booker because when Booker Kentucky was like, okay,
He wasn't like that,
the league
right?
in
So
2 years dropping 71. I'm like, okay, true.
I do think I can see that too. He's like he can easily score 10 points off. He's a 7-3, 7 man, get beer rebounds and just score an easy
He'll
basket.
be averaging a double double easily
And
first
he's a
season.
good free throw shooter. He's not horrible. He's not a horrible free throw shooter.
Season in the 70s, right?
Yeah.
It's
For
okay.
that size, that's not bad at
Yeah,
all.
yeah. Like
Right? So,
I'm rooting for Zach Edey. Like
oh,
honestly,
well,
I'm
a
rooting for
thousand
Zach
percent, a
Edey.
thousand percent.
But,
Most improved for me was the hardest to choose.
I'll let you artist. Okay, I'll let you go first. Then.
Because there's so much guys that could potentially win it. The one thing normally a second year player doesn't win it normally, but it's normally a third year player that wins it. I was thinking of guys like I wrote this guy's name. I'm gonna be honest. I wrote Jalen Green because
Really?
people are down on him a lot, so I can see that. But he scores a lot, so it'd be harder for him. I picked
Yeah.
RJ Barrett because that's RJ Barrett manual quickly. If the Raptors are good, people will look at them. Jalen Duren, who I always felt was a most improved candidate from Detroit. Ivy, the same thing. Jaden McDaniels, who I'm more and more thinking that could be him. I did write Wemby, but like I said, they normally don't pick someone like that. But if Wemby goes like for 26 points a game, he's winning most improved. Like he just is 26, and he has a bunch of dunks. Jalen Johnson from the Hawks. People have talked about him as well.
Mhm.
I want to see more from him. I think they did the same thing with John Collins. I feel like within Atlanta, like they're just really trying to find a second guy for Trey Young so badly. Um,
Definitely.
and then the last person I had a thought process of was Josh Giddey, and it's just because if you think about it, he's gonna be in
More value.
Chicago.
Yeah,
Here's the ball, go do your thing,
which is
right?
true.
Like they have Zach Levine and who's their center again? Vucevic. And you have Lonzo coming soon. Like, I don't know.
Maybe.
I think that, but if I had to choose one, I don't know, man. I honestly, I'll say I don't know, but like, I think the easiest pick or most improved pick, because I think they're gonna want him to do more, is Jaden McDaniels. And if not, I'm gonna go Ivy from Detroit. But Jaden McDaniels or Ivy, because I just feel opportunity is gonna be there for them. McDaniels is harder because a lot of the most improved is scoring as well.
Yep.
And when you have Dillingham scoring, you have Nikhil scoring, you definitely have Edwards scoring, you have Randall scoring. There's a lot more guys who want to score the basket. So I think it'd be harder for McDaniels, but if he can hit the three at a consistent level and try to give him 16 points a game, he'll be there. And another guy I should have mentioned, I'm saying it now, Matherin, because he's a guy or anyone on Indiana,
Yeah,
right?
okay, okay,
Because
okay.
they're gonna he has the opportunity, right? But yeah, I'll go Ivy or uh or McDaniels, but I think this one is hard. Who's your pick? I spoke for too long. Who's your pick?
Well, I have an honorable mention, so I'm gonna start with honorable mention first.
Mhm.
Andrew Nembhard, if I'm saying his name right, Nembhard
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
Pacers.
that's a good
He was
because
playing with confidence last year. It's just gonna carry over into this season,
right,
and he knows what he could do on the big stage
right, right,
against
right.
against guys on the next squad, a defensive-minded New York Knicks squad,
Yeah.
right? So he knows what he could do. So that's honorable mention right there. So look out for him, man. To be honest, I'm surprised he didn't say this name because you talk about opportunity, right? Minutes, touches.
Hmm.
It's gonna be Jonathan Kuminga easily. Period. Period. There's no play on the squad, right?
You know
He
what?
has to be the number two guy. right? Moody is coming off the bench still. He has to be number two guy. It's Kaminga easily. Curry's getting older. They need a successor at least, or someone to succeed, or someone they can at least get a high trade value off of when Curry decides to, you know what I mean? So it has to be Kaminga.
You know, because you're right. They're looking for a second guy, right? Because I think respectfully, they always, even though Wiggins was kind of playing the second, but
Mhm.
in mindset, Clay was always the second.
Of course
Because
it was Clay.
out of respect, Clay has to be the
Of course
second,
it was
right?
Clay.
But Wiggins, I think, scored more than him. But you
He
just out
was.
of
He was.
mental,
Everyone looked at Wiggins as the third, always the third.
right,
But then always
right.
that fourth
Uh,
was utility, right? Just
And the thing is, they want Wiggins to be that second guy now. But ultimately, and I think when we get to our predictions for next episode, the one thing I was going to talk about Golden State is that, like, hey, you guys, I'm not even the biggest Kaminga fan. Like, I'm really not. But you should be building around Kaminga. Like, you should be letting Kaminga, like, Steph can go score 30. Steph is a cheat code. The man can be in any place in the court and score the basket. So
you don't
he's
need to worry about him.
dangerous.
You need to worry
So
about him.
commit. I think, you know what? I think you're right.
That's how I
I think
feel.
you're right. You're right. Opportunity. Wiggins, we both know Wiggins ain't trying to, he's not consistent enough. Kaminga wants the ball.
Yeah, you see the hunger with Kaminga, right?
Kaminga's like, I'm better than Steph. That's how he moves sometimes. So I can see that you're right because he averaged 17. Who's to say the man can't go to 24?
Yeah, definitely going to be in the 20s. Definitely going to be in the 20s.
Like you just tell Steph, like, hey, chill. Let us young guys, we have pods, can do his thing. What about pods?
You know,
Because
I
they
was
like him
thinking
too.
about him. I was thinking about him, and I'm like, but I feel like it has to be Kaminga. Like, there's nowhere.
Like I was washing dishes, and of course, all I think about is basketball. And I'm thinking like they didn't want to trade him like Pods for like a Paul George or they wanted even Pascal and they didn't want to trade Pods because they really like Pods. And I'm thinking that's when you have Steph Curry, right? You trade Pods, you trade him. Like who is he? Like trade
Yeah,
him, okay?
see, exactly.
Like in my mind, that makes no sense. If you can get a player, you get a player. In my opinion, always try to get the player. It doesn't matter. Especially if they're telling you Paul George is going to come to. If Paul George was on the squad, we're looking at Golden State a little differently
100%. It's 100%.
because Steph is still Steph, and you have Draymond there, and you have Paul George. We're like, damn,
So, I mean, you have Wiggins just doing a little, you know what I mean?
right? You could have done something. And that's I think that's what you
Man,
just want to trade pods is kind of weird. What's the next award? Did you by any chance do the clutch awards? I didn't. Did you do that?
when did the clutch award? No, no, no.
Yeah. Okay, let's go defensive player of the year.
Man, defense player of the year. I have two, right? The Alien, of course. Let's keep it a buck. And I don't know which one it is. Asur Thompson.
Who's the better defender? No, it could
Yeah.
be Amen. Amen is the one on Houston.
On Houston, okay, a
Yeah. Did
man.
you want the Houston one or the Detroit one?
I want the Houston because Houston's
Yeah.
gonna do better than Detroit. They're gonna get more time. So yeah, it's a man Thompson.
Let me just double check that. Let me just make sure I'm correct. Pretty sure it's a man. Yeah, it's a man.
That's my
Wow.
only one.
So either Wemby or Amen Thompson.
Yeah,
I like
yeah,
that. I like that Amen Thompson because he's defensively very good,
very.
and he could. Yeah, he's a man that can get spoken about. Definitely, definitely, definitely. Another man who could be potential six man of the year candidate.
Oh, 6 months. This is a defensive player.
I
We're
know, but
talking.
he's another guy who could be considered
Oh,
for
shit.
that,
Dude,
right? So, I have to agree with you, Wemby. I think everyone's focused on Wemby. It could be Wemby's year, because he wants it.
it makes sense though, because how he changes shots on the break, it makes sense.
Right? No, he could. I think if OG gets a little bit of love,
Oh
and
shit.
and if he plays 70 games, if he plays 70, because you know how they are. If he plays 70 games. They'd be like, "Oh, OG's such a good defender. Oh, we never seen defense like this before." Not like he wasn't doing it in Toronto or something. But the person I'm gonna pick because I picked him last year, and probably just because I want him to win. Okay, now it's just become a want because we all know this guy as being one of the best defensive players in the league, and he's never won before. Bam Adebayo,
Oh shit, you never won before, right?
he's never won before.
A great pick.
right? Him and Anthony Davis never won, right? I don't think Anthony Davis won either. And we both know both of them are amazing defensive players.
No,
So
literally, Bam is elite defender. He can rotate literally 1 to 5.
so
Like,
good. And Bam's only like 6'9", I think.
I know. That's yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's only six
Blocking
nine.
Giannis at the rim that year. Holy, like Bam is
Yeah, he needs to. Yeah, I would like him to win. I really would like him
a great
to win.
pick. Bam
He's
is a great pick.
Yeah, so him or even if Anthony Davis won it, I wouldn't be mad at that, man. Because Wemby's gonna win it eventually.
Yeah, that's a good.
He's gonna win it. The way everyone's moving, man, that man's gonna definitely win it.
That's a good one.
Um, okay, what's next? I guess it's coach of the year.
Yo, coach of the year. I picked two, right? Shout out to the East Coast coaches. I picked Rick Carlisle,
That's good. I like that.
and I'm gonna go with my boy in South Beach, Eric Spoelstra.
I don't think has Eric ever won one? I don't think he's ever won, eh?
That's disrespectful.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever
Coach his
won.
ass off.
And he's like the best coach in the league besides like I'll say he's probably better than Pop now. Pop now. He's probably better than him.
You feel that way?
Yeah, like I think Pop's just old, bro. That's a crazy thought.
It's kind of
I
crazy. There's still a lot of history behind Pop. That's why.
I guess so, but yeah,
Talking
you're
about right now, though, coaching right now. Well, Pop never really had a squad in a little while to really do anything with. So this is the best kind of squad he has right now that he's had in at least the last decade.
right,
Right?
right.
Because the last squad was when they were going against the Heat. This was like 2012-ish, 10, those
No,
years.
even though the 2016 squad he had was good with LaMarcus and
Why? Right?
Kawhi.
This
This is
was
when
the
Kawhi was like MVP. He's like because
MVP.
the year that G State won 73, they won 67. Yeah, so Pop had a squad, but at the end of the day, like yeah,
Stands for it. Yeah.
Spoelstra has never won coach of the year. That's not a bad one. It's not a bad one.
But
He
his supposed to coaches ass off, and you really didn't have people. And Miami was still always staying afloat, and they really
always,
had no one.
always,
There was one
always.
year it was like undrafted Duncan Robinson, Caleb Martin, Max Strus,
You're right.
Gay, and it's like, wow, that's crazy to me.
That's why, even for rookie of the year, there's a guy named Khalil Ware that plays for Miami. I'm just saying his name. I'm just saying for rookie of the year. I'm just saying his name. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but he's probably gonna get some minutes because he plays hard and he shoots the three well. So
Jeez, jeez.
and he's like darn near close to 7 foot, I believe.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So he's a guy that I'm pretty sure, because who knows what the whole Jimmy situation is going to happen in the future. He's a guy they're going to start looking at as like maybe their next guy.
Serious, because he's gonna play the five, then what? Bam at the four.
Bam at the four.
That's real. That's defensive.
That's some
That's
scary. That could be some
defensive.
scary hours. So,
Then you have
for,
Butler if he's acting right, if Pat Riley and him are getting along, I should say.
that needs to
Him
happen
as
for
a
sure.
defender, and then all the guys in Miami are gritty.
Yeah.
So that's
For coach of the year, I said sleeper pick was be the Grizzlies coach if they're good. If
okay.
they're good, Grizzlies coach. I picked either Jason Kidd
Ooh,
or Joe Mazzulla, depending on record, and
mhm.
then Tom Thibodeau.
I, I like the
Right?
tips.
Because Tibbs won it before, and
Tips,
but I
bro.
think if I have to think about it, I'm gonna go Missoula. But I think when people win titles, man, it's hard for them to like get it
Repeat.
back. It's normally
Okay.
the person that like did something miraculous that will win, right? But if I have to pick, I'm gonna go Missoula just as an easy pick. Like Boston's gonna have a good record. We know that.
Mizzou can coach though. Like at the end of the day,
Very much so. Very much so. He can coach. Second last award, sixth man of the year.
we're gonna have
Sixth
for
man of the year.
6 man of the year. Ooh, wow, that's some. I got two picks for 6 man in the year, man. And let me tell you something. I got that boy from Minnesota. I got Nas Reed, right? But I feel this is the real 6 man of the year. It's gonna be Norm Powell.
You know how much I love him. You know how much I love
I'm
him.
telling you, no PG there. A little more opening of scoring there, right?
What if the Clippers aren't good?
The Clippers are gonna be okay. They're gonna be okay. You have Harden, you have Kawhi, you have Zubac, you got some guys on the bench, right? They're gonna be
Because
okay. They're gonna
I
be okay.
see it like
They're gonna be
yeah,
500. If anything, they're gonna be 500.
he's like a sleeper pick and everything. I get it. I see it. Um, I picked a bunch. I've had a bunch of names. Nas Reed. I had Nikhil. Malik Monk, but I don't think Malik Monk's gonna win it. I had Cason Wallace, and he's probably my number two from OKC because once again, he's gonna get minutes,
Mm.
right? They need that backup. He's a great defensive player. So I say Cason Wallace. I see I wrote Houston Rockets just because I think whoever comes off that bench could just be six man of the year. I truly think because the bench is gonna be like they could be really good. So the men could win it, Tari Easton could win it, or any of those guys can win it. Dante DiVincenzo could also, if he's not, because I don't know if he's coming off the bench or not.
Minnesota's got some guys still coming
Because you
off the.
think it's Conley, it's gonna go Conley, Ant,
Yeah.
then you go McDaniels,
Then Randall.
Randall, and then
But
Gobert. Oh yeah, so DiVincenzo.
they got a lot of guys on the bench low key that want to score.
Now that I said that,
Minnesota.
I may gotta
I'm not
change
taking it
what.
in. Rob Dillingham, I don't know. He's kind of low on the pecking order now.
Yeah,
Still,
you think about it?
but
Yeah.
still,
I was watching I was listening to a podcast and they said Rob Dylan was going to score, right? Then the other podcaster was like, it was Brian Windhorst's podcast, and he was like, no, how can he? You have Nas, you have Nikhil, and you have Dante. All
yeah,
these guys, even guard wise, Dante and Nikhil are going to get touches,
yeah, yeah,
right? But Nikhil can kind of play. Nikhil has good size on him, like height wise, skinny guy, but then Dante can play well defensively as well, and like. I think when it comes to a bench, you don't got to worry about position so much when it
yeah,
comes
yeah.
to a bench, unless
Yeah, yeah,
Mans have like some freaking their JV coming off the bench and he's killing them in the post. They don't have that. Like Drummond is probably one of the harder guys to defend off the bench because he just gets beer rebounds. But
definitely.
yeah, Dante was a person that I thought about as well. But the person I'm gonna pick, I'm gonna go with Benetton Mathurin. I'm gonna go Mathurin
It's a great pick too.
because he's gonna get buckets.
It's a great
And
pick.
he was when on his rookie year, he was like top three in six man of the year in his rookie year.
Was huh?
So I believe it can happen again. I definitely believe it can happen again. So yeah, I'm gonna go with him. But once again, six man is one of those things that like I think that's gonna be a race. Like everyone's gonna be like, man, who's really helping? Because Malik Monk is always gonna get talked about,
Definitely.
right? He's gonna, but offensively, they're Sacramento's kind of good offensively right now. They're kind of
Kind of great
okay.
offensively.
Um, I think like I'm probably sleeping on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now that we've talked about it, I'm like,
Yeah.
man, they got a lot of like
They
they
got
got
some guys
some
that can put the ball and the guys that can dribble.
yeah, see, this is where
So
I'm when we do this Western Conference standings, man, it's gonna be so
kind of
hard to
everyone
pick.
that's guarding their bench kind of has to be able to shuffle their feet, slide their feet, because all of
Yeah.
us can create their own shot off the bench, more or less. That's kind of scary
And if they
still.
don't play like ISO ball and they play like pass the ball, that's hard, man. Oh, there's Nikhil. Oh, then there's Nas Reed who can shoot the three now. This it can
Or there's
definitely go.
Dante coming off of a pin down, or there's
I
Dillingham
heard,
cutting to the key or whatever. It's just
especially if they play fast with a Dillingham, it could be
so that's all kind of young, so on the bench. So
could be real good. Um, Last but not least, the MVP.
MVP.
Who is your MVP this season?
Well, it's not Joker.
Yeah, no, no, no. Mind you, I heard the odds. He has the highest odds. I don't
My
get that.
MVP is there's gonna be well, it's two I have here. You see what I'm
I think
saying?
me and you have probably the same two because I think these are the. It's
Yeah,
just gonna be one of the two.
it's
But
gonna
who's
be either Shea or Luca. I think.
easily? It's gonna be one of those two guys. It just has to be. Like it's not JT. It's not
It's,
JT. JT Tatum. I'm sorry, it's not you. It's not you. It's definitely not Embiid because Embiid's not playing 80 fucking games. So like the person has to play 65 games. Luca's gonna play 65 games, and she's gonna play 65 games. So it's one of the
not gonna
two.
be JT for real.
It's not gonna be. I want it to be Giannis. I originally was like, no, Giannis is
Oh
coming,
my
and Giannis is
God.
gonna kill.
Yeah.
Giannis is gonna go for people's necks, but I'm starting to feel a little bit low on the Bucks a little bit, especially regular season wise. I
Yes.
feel playoff
Yes.
wise, they're a terrifying team. But who's your MVP? Who's winning?
My MVP. Oh, you already said. Oh, who between the
Yeah,
two?
yeah. Who do you choose?
I'm going with honestly.
It's hard,
I
right? This one's
don't,
hard.
and I don't want to. I really don't want to because I feel like it should be Shea, but I feel like they're gonna give it to Luca.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I
I think we
mean?
give it to Luca. Yeah, because I don't even want to spoil it, but like when we talk about the standings, it's really like whoever's gonna be first in the
Hmm.
standings, right? For
Hmm.
this one, normally they do it, but when it comes to Luca and Shea, nah, it's gonna be whoever's first. Whoever's first, we'll win it. I agree, it should be Shea, but it's like, oh, how's it Shea? You have Caruso, you have Chet, you have J Dub, you have all those guys, right? I might J Dub can potentially be most improved as well, but he already
Yeah,
scores at a high clip. Like some of these guys already score so much, it's gonna be hard. Unless they score like 8 more points, it's gonna be hard for them to.
that's a lot of points.
That's a
If
lot of
they're like
points
16, 17 a game,
to go. Then you have to go for 25 to then win. It's a lot. It's too
25
much. Yeah, my MVP part is gonna be Luca.
it's just
His to lose, man. But
his
we
to
did say that last year too. We did say it was Lucas to lose last year,
and look what happened.
and he didn't. Joker just got it again because everyone was playing so. I feel like respectfully, everyone was playing so mid. Like everyone was such in the same level that you're
Yeah.
like, who's the best player in the league? Oh, Jokic. Let's just give him the award. So I think it's one of those things. But that's our picks. Those are our predictions for the
Oh,
NBA
shit.
season.
Yeah.
We have our MVPs, the six mans of the years, the rookie of the year. Clearly, this season's going to be a lot of fun, right? We don't know who's going to win what. We really don't know. But make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Tune into the next episode, which will be our predictions, our standings, who we believe is going to be the number one team to the bottom team. We'll talk to you guys again. Peace.